3.1 Practice and Research Project 8. I had my tutorial with Amy, wrote up my feedback, and then had returned the feedback from Amy, and really was to focus on Project 8 for the critical assignment Draft 3. I wanted to submit a re-edited version, so I have had to go to the tech department. I have had to re-evaluate the whole of the essay, and the point of re-evaluating is to record the photographs with separate audio, rather than sit there for 30 minutes, and literally it was impossible. It's impossible to talk for that length of time, and also impossible to go back in and edit. So I've spent the time re-evaluating, re-recording, then getting Google Slides, and then adding audio, which all in all has been quite laborious, but it will allow my tutor to go in, make the notes, then I can take out the audio and the photograph, either re-edit or just completely take it out. Didn't enjoy the process, haven't enjoyed the essay, and I think it is the way that my brain works that it just goes into overdrive and it just ends up being confused. I feel that I waffle on. I've gone well over the timing, and I am quite disappointed, not for the fact that I don't want to face the challenge of the essay, but I don't know. I'm just not happy with it. So I have sent it on to my tutor, and I'm going to wait for feedback. If I have to do another draft, I'll do it. But again, I don't know whether it could be, now that I'm learning about my diagnosis with dyslexia and making alterations to the way that I think, to the way that I work, I think a lot of the traits are now filtering through, even though I have tried to make the essay visual, but with audio that doesn't necessarily, it's not confusing, it just gets a little bit overwhelming with the information. It's almost as if I'm rushing everything with what I want to say, and then the image to the Google Slides becomes confused, but I don't know. So anyway, moving on with the rest of the assignment, I feel that I have to work in this manner. I have sent, again, too much work, but I utilised more video so that my tutor can go into my blog pages and she can just select. She may want to take, one video, look at that, look at another video, and so forth. So I've made good use of Project 8 that feels the right thing to do. At the beginning of Project 8, I inserted the video footage that I did externally with a school teacher that has dyslexic children in her class, and she's sat and she's critically analysed my samples for me, so I thought that that was a good starting point, and I think this can be expanded possibly into 3.2 to make further investigations and do more video with an external audience. I brought in some new video footage of working with the hands and using the hands as a platform. I think it's important that now I can identify that a lot of this research is returning to many different areas and extracting and pulling the research that I've done. I'm returning back to Aldo van Eyck. I'm returning back to Laura Blake, the Dyslexic Online store where fidgets and so forth. I've now introduced and shown the large-scale samples, which has been important because I've also refined and developed from going from the hands as a platform to using the body as a platform. And then this has now brought on some new contextual research by where I've looked at Bauhaus ballet with how shapes move with the body. And also, which this is quite an interesting piece of research. When I just researched sensory materials, of various bits and bobs were coming up in association, very similar to what other companies could offer, very similar to the Dyslexic Store. I was particularly, which was a trigger for using more of the body as a platform, Asensory Socks, which is a lycra bodysuit that you sit in and you distort and you pull. So that's been an interesting piece of research, and this can be seen on my video footage of my sketchbook. And then I think, and I know I think I've found a direction with my textiles practice and where it's going to sit a little bit more. Now, I think I need to reevaluate this a little bit more in Project 9. I had been advised to reevaluate rewriting, locating your practice, but I think that this has been an important bit to put that on hold and go into Project 9 and reevaluate it, because I think what is actually coming through this work is a strong sense of knit. Now, I think that this knit will be my main focus in combination with mixed media, but I feel as though I have a chemistry in the relationship with working with knit. And I think the transition has gone from the French knitted cord to the tubular knit, which I've also made a video of my processes of my knitting and how I've adapted the processes of knit with these large scale samples and also the French knitted cord. And I think it's kind of been another light bulb moment where I want to continue now with knitting. Not particularly good at hand knitting with needles, but I think I'm now going to look into getting a knitting machine, whereby I can knit fabric that can become part of my investigations, my experiments, and my mixed media. And I have started to play, which I'm going to demonstrate in Project 9, with further investigation of how I can make use of the large knitted circular tubular, in actual fact it's a hat maker, knitting machine. I am starting to think about and devise how I can attach and insert some of the foam fabric shapes and possibly attach the French knitted cord. So because I've now started to locate that I really have a little bit of chemistry with knit, this led to further developments with more contextual research, and I've looked at Siblings of London and their amazing knitwear. Their knitwear is a combination of large scale, small scale, menswear, women's wear, you name it. They just bombard the body with an array of knitwear. Obviously season approachable, whether it be winter, summer, it could be an attachment, it could be a body piece, it can be anything. Other areas that I'd looked into for knitwear were Hayley Grundman. Some interesting work there. Personally, for me, I wasn't stimulated by it, but I really love her fashion illustrations and I loved her processes and her ideas of where she was extracting and putting together three-dimensional knitwear from the ideas of the laundrette. So I really did like that, but it's possibly not a route that I will follow. I looked back into Natsumi Hanyu, and those are the earlier parts of. I had looked into her in earlier projects. I've looked back into her and how she visualises her textiles against the body. I think I've always got this thing that I want to push my textiles into fashion, because I just feel fashion works as a statement and it works as a great platform for the body. But I also do need to investigate the body. You know, it could be the arm, could be a leg. I'd already demonstrated the use of my head with ideas of dyslexia. So I think there's just so many possibilities. Again, I'll probably go back to and say my work just gets overloaded, and there's too many ideas, and there's lots of ideas, and I find it difficult to extract, select, and sort. But unfortunately, this is the way that I work, and I don't think I'm going to change it. I know I will have to break it down and make sure that I'm fitting in with the criteria of the learning outcomes and the assessment criteria. I think I can do that, and I will do that. But I think I don't see the point in stopping in the way that I work, because I do feel as though that this is part of my practice, that I accumulate all this information, and at the end of the day, it is one of my the way I work, and I think it's because I'm learning. I'm now learning a great more information about dyslexia, and how my brain operates. So I think I am at a very good point at project 8. It'd be interesting to see the feedback that comes from my tutor. We have some great Zoom meetings, some in-depth discussion. Not looking forward to the feedback on the essay, but it is what it is, and I will just keep, jumping over these obstacles, and face the difficulties. So I really do want to just get back onto some practical stuff for Project 9. Hopefully I can just keep the core of the essay that I've got, and then just pull out some smaller areas, and reevaluate them, rethink them, rejuggle, reduce the timing down, and so forth. So we're looking forward to hearing that. So I hope you enjoy the videos and the blog.